Good afternoon. That is not a word I usually use to say hello to you all. 4 p.m. That is so weird. The sun is shining. It's light outside. It's so different than what I'm used to. I usually come here Sundays and sometimes Wednesdays with a cup of tea at night in the dark. Everybody's quiet. Now I'm like shushing my kids because they're still doing homework. Hi, Marina. So nice to see you here. Please say hello as you come in. I know it's a different time that we're all used to, but I hope you'll start joining us because this is a conversation that I'm so excited to have. Please say hello. I see that there's more people here, but say hello. Hi from Central West Virginia. If you approve StreamYard, I'll be able to see your name. When you don't approve, this is how I see you. So say hello when you come in, guys. I'm going to bring Riona now, and she will share her story that is far richer than just dealing with medical issues. And also we'll talk about this amazing love story, which is, I think, hi Susan, I think that we're all ready for a beautiful love story. You know, we love it. We all want love. We want to see love. And the Riona will be able to show a part, you know, a blessing, that because every adversity has blessings in it. Sometimes it's hard for us to see right away, but they bring blessings. And I think, hi Luis, I think that we will see through this story beautifully. So without any further ado, here's Riona all the way from Europe. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Who's joined?
I'm so happy to have you here, and all of these people are here early, a different time zone, but I do know that everybody was just so excited because I did share with everybody that there is an element of a love story, and I think that everybody's just so ready to hear about a beautiful, heartwarming love story at the end of adversity. So maybe you'll bring him at the end, even just to say a quick hello if he doesn't want to join us.
No, I'm sure. Listen, he normally rides my parade, so we don't. He does solo interviews, but we normally do joint interviews together. So I'm sure I'll get him for the last 5 minutes.
Fantastic. Okay, so I want to give you the floor. I want you to be able to share from the moment that you want to share in your life, and take us through the adversity, through the strokes, through not being able to walk, to finding the love of your life, and the recovery process. We have a lot of stroke survivors in the group, so I'm sure that they are also very curious about that. Please.
Okay, so my name's, as you know, Riona Kelly. It's on the screen, so if you didn't know, you know now. I am 40 now. I'm not afraid to say my name. You know, when people turn around and tell you it's rude to ask your name, well, for me, it's like asking if you brush your teeth. You know, it's just an age, it's just a number. But I was 34 when I suffered my first stroke. And it's a rare spinal stroke that I suffered that left me paralyzed from T10 eventually. But at the time, it was from the top of my neck. I'd lost everything. I couldn't do anything for myself. It was like being a baby again, but you're not a baby, you're an adult. I had a very active life. I was a teacher, 4 young kids. And I enjoyed that aspect of my life. I loved my children and I loved my job, but that's where the book stopped. I didn't have the right kind of people around me. I had a very toxic mother. I don't know if anyone else has family members that are toxic, but I had a very toxic mother. And as long as I didn't have an opinion, as long as I didn't have a life of my own, we got along great. As soon as I wanted to live my own life and have my own circle and shine in my own right, we didn't get along at all. And that's quite sad, because at times she was my best friend. But it was, do you know, you kind of, some people come into your life, and my mother didn't come into my life, I came into her life. But some people come into your life for what you can give them, for the value that they think that they can get from you, not because they're authentic and not because they're real. And unfortunately, that's the way my mother was. So when I had my first stroke, the catalyst of abuse that I got off her, when I mean abuse, I mean I died 4 times in my first stroke, and they had to resuscitate me and bring me back. And she got my husband at the time, who's now my ex, to get me to sign a not for resuscitation form, because I was worth more dead than alive. And some people will go, oh my gosh, that is so sad. But I like to find a positive in everything. And when she did that, and when I found out she did that, it gave me the courage to finally fight for me and go, hang on a minute, I'm lying in a bed, I'm paralyzed from my neck down, I can't do anything for myself, I'm like a baby, everything has been done for me. And the people who are supposed to love me the most and be around and support me in my hour of need couldn't. What do? Do I stay bitter? Do I get angry? Do I allow what they're doing to stop me from living my life and my rehab and my journey, this newfound journey of being totally paralyzed? And I thought, no way. No way. I spent 34 years trying to please people and trying to change people, because people will go, I want to be this kind of person. Oh, here he is.
Oh, good. Oh, he's just being so nice.
I've had some of them. Yeah, he's brought. I hope people have got their cuppas, because he's brought me a calamine tea.
Enjoy.
Thank you. I want you to be in the last 5 minutes. I want you back in. Okay. Yeah, he said he'd come back in the last 5 minutes. For me, it was a case of, right, I'm a religious person. I believe in God. And I remember 2 weeks before I had my first stroke, I prayed to the Lord to say, I'm a good person. I know I'm a good person, but I've made some very bad choices, and I've allowed some very crappy people to come into my life. So Lord, you know what? I'm going to hand my life back to you. Do as you please with it, because I'm balls of this. I have a great job. I have 4 beautiful kids, but I hate my life. I am suffocating inside myself, and it's awful. I need to break free. I said, anyone or anything that's not meant to be in my life, can you just remove it? Give me a blank slate, and whoever's meant to be there, just leave them. Well, I didn't realize that when I said that, and when I asked for that help, that 2 weeks later I was going to have a spinal stroke, become paralyzed, and everybody left. And I was broken. I was heartbroken, grieving for my mom leaving, my dad leaving, my siblings leaving, my cousins, my aunties, my uncle, everybody left. But then I had to sit down and say to yourself, sweetheart, you prayed for this. You asked for everything and everyone that is not meant to be in your life to be removed. So come on, stop feeling sorry for yourself. And at one point I did want to commit suicide, because when anyone who's had a stroke, and when you can't move your limbs, you can't do anything, and you've got to try and do, and everything's so exhausting, everything's so painful, and everything's so difficult. And you have a negative response to that, because you're grieving for the person that is gone, and you're desperately wanting to get that person back. But then when I looked at myself, I thought, I don't want to be that woman, because that woman was crumbling. I have to be something better than that woman. Something has to give. Something has to change in my life. And my son came to me, and at the time, he's 14 now, but he was only 8 at the time. And he came around to the side of my bed. And basically, my kids have been told, your mummy might die. And that was a massive chance that I was going to die, because I was critically ill. And he said, Mummy, I don't care if you spend the rest of your life lying in that bed. Just please, Mummy, please don't die. Mummy, please don't leave me. And I realized then the fear that I was feeling of this unknown life, this unknown world, they were feeling it a million times more. And all of these toxic people that I was carrying in my life, I'd invited them into their life as well. And so they were around all these toxic people. They were hearing all these kind of stuff that they didn't want to hear. And so I made a promise to myself that I was going to stop feeling sorry for myself, which I had all right. I'd had a stroke. I was paralyzed. My life had totally changed. you know, people doing things for me, toilet habits, doing stuff for me, that feeding me, changing me, bathing me, everything that I did. I was fiercely independent. And I thought, you can still, I don't know how I'm going to work through this. I don't know what kind of woman I'm going to be at the end of all this, but I definitely know that I can be the mother that those children need, because I was the mother that they needed before the stroke, and my love hasn't changed for them. So I had to latch onto something to become my driving force, and my children was what I latched onto. That positive energy, that love, that I'd make, I can try and do something, even if I can show them. I didn't see them all week. And I thought, well, if I see them on the weekend, I'm going to show them that Mummy can do something new. And it's something that is a journey that I can take them on with me. And that's exactly what I did, until I came home, and then it hits you like a sledgehammer. I was in hospital. I was savvy. I could get myself in and out of bed. I could transfer into my wheelchair. I could zoom around. I could make myself a cuppa, because everything was at my level, because it's all adapted. The spinal unit is all adapted for people who are disabled. Well, my home wasn't adapted for people who are disabled. And my disability hit me really, really, really hard when I came home. And I was a single parent, because I wasn't a single parent going into hospital, but I was a single parent leaving hospital. But in honesty, that was the best thing. Having the stroke is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And people are going to think that's the weirdest thing that I'm saying. But I could breathe. For the first time in my life, I could breathe my own air. I could breathe my own life. I could make my own choices, my own decisions. I wasn't judged. I wasn't hated. And I had no one in my life apart from me and my children. And I wanted to go back to rehab. I couldn't afford physio anymore. I didn't get any help from the NHS, which is the national health system in the UK. They saved my life, which I'll be forever grateful. And they made me where I was ready to go home in a wheelchair. But that was where my rehab stopped. And I just wanted to get back to the gym. I wanted to feel normal. I wanted to do normal things again. So I put a post on Facebook asking for a personal trainer. Nobody would take me on, because disabled people are add-ons to personal trainers. We're not someone that, they're not qualified to train people like us. And I think that needs to change in society, because disabled people still want to be fit and healthy. They still want to go to the gym. They still want to be active. We're not something that we don't want to do that. So Keith kindly agreed to take me on. I presumed, because he'd gone through my Facebook, and one of the very first pictures I put on, from 2009, and bearing in mind this is 2016, he liked, but it was the only full body picture of me. And I'd gone to a fancy dress wearing this Catwoman suit, the tightest thing you could ever imagine. Okay, so he's like, that picture. Well, surely he looks at my post. Surely he knows I'm disabled. So I told him that my legs didn't work properly. And he said, that's fine, we'll work around it. I just presumed he knew I was paralyzed. So when I turned up, I kind of pushed myself out the car and got on my crutches, because I could walk a little bit on my crutches. And he said, what's wrong with your legs? And I said, oh, did I forget to tell you that I'm paralyzed? And he went, eh? Are you sure you're all right to train? Are you sure you're okay? I said, I'm paralyzed, not dead. He went, okay. So he's really gentle with me, and he went through everything and made sure that everything we were doing was injury preventative for me, that I wasn't going to cause any more problems with my spine. He was really, really careful with me. But he was kind. The thing is, I remember when I first saw him, I thought, Jesus Christ, he's a giant. He's massive. Huge, the size of his legs. I mean, when he played international rugby, he had the biggest legs in rugby. They're huge. They're ridiculously big. They're like tree trunks. And quite intimidating. I just thought, oh my God, he's going to absolutely beast me. And he didn't. He was so kind and gentle. And then he said, and he asked me about my diet, about eating. I said, and this was 2:30 in the afternoon. And he said, have you eaten yet today? And I went, no. He said, right, we're going for something to eat. I can't train you if you're not going to fuel yourself. So if you haven't eaten, then I'm going to make sure every time you train with me that you're going to go for something to eat, whether you like it or not. And he said, I'll only train you if you start living your life properly, because you can't live your life like you are now. But then we went on an emotional journey together, and there wasn't any sexual tension between us to start off with. There wasn't chemistry like that to start off with, because he was very professional and I was just intimidated by him. I just thought, he's gorgeous. My God. But he want a woman like me. I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm disabled. Like, all the problems that come with having a stroke, and mine was in my spine, so having a stroke and a spinal cord injury, I just thought, no way, I'm going to be on my own for the rest of my life. And I remember praying to God and saying, do you know what, Lord? I don't want to be on my own for the rest of my life. I really would like to meet somebody one day, a nice person. And the Lord responded saying, and I opened a book, and in the book it says, it will never work with any man who hasn't got my heart and who I haven't sent to you.
Wow.
And I thought, write that down on a piece of paper. And I wrote it down, and the date and the month and everything. And I just put it away. And then Keith asked me, I set up a charity with a friend to help other people who are in the same situation as me, because being disabled is one thing, but how it affects your mental health is another. And it really, and I'm a strong character, but it really affected my mental health to the point that I wanted to commit suicide. And I know if anyone is not as strong as me, they're going to have gone down that rabbit hole as well. It is really hard to deal with. But it's also not just for the individual, it was for the families as well, because to see someone that you love and care for so much deteriorate in front of your eyes, and you're scared to lose them, and that's powerful. But not know what to do yourself, and to need somebody to talk to, and families need that. It's not just the individual, it's the whole package. So I set up my own charity, and the guy I set it up with, it wasn't right. And I'm firmly now in myself that if I've got warning bells about someone, I step away and I look at it and I make a decision. But if somebody doesn't add positive value to my life, because I know I add positive value to everybody's lives, because that's the person that I am, and that's who I'm committed to being, the best version of myself every day. And if I'm the best version of myself, everybody else gets the best of me. And he wasn't. And I had to let him go. And so I let people know that he'd gone, but that I was still around, and that, you know, the charity was still going to go on, and the help and support was still going to be there. So Keith reached out to me, and he asked me for a coffee, and I jumped at the chance. And I think at the time he thought I jumped to the chance because I fancied him. And I jumped to the chance just because I was in the house all on my own with 4 kids. And anyone who is a mother who's on 4 kids, you don't have much of an intellectual conversation. There's not much going on apart from do this, do that, you've done your homework, read a book, finish your tea, brush your teeth. You know, there's not much. You know, you have fun, but you do need intellectual conversation as an adult. So I jumped at the chance to go out for a coffee. And it's in that moment that he started opening up about his spiritual beliefs, in who he was, his ethos of life, you know, his values, his morals and principles. And as he's talking, I'm thinking, it's like he's inside my head. It's like everything that I feel and think, he feels and thinks the same. And the weird thing was, when we were talking, I used to go ice skating when I was in my teens, like early teens, mid-teens. He went at the same time.
To the same place?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We used to go to nightclubs and he'd be there, and we didn't know.
Wow.
And then I was, so I had my stroke in the March, and by the October I did a marathon in my wheelchair. I just thought, I'm going to push myself. I'm going to do something that I would never do on my legs. I would be intimidated. I thought, sod it, I'm going to do a marathon. So I did, with a lot of other people, to raise awareness of how, I don't care what country you're in, they are not equipped for disabilities, and they're not equipped for wheelchairs. And, you know, we wanted to prove that England thinks that they're up here in their game leaders in disability and equality. And oh my gosh, to do a marathon, it took 9.5 hours to get from one place to another, just because the roads are so bad. But that's what we wanted to raise awareness for.
Wow.
As I was going up the hill, when I got to Dewsbury, which is where Keith lived at the time, he was going over the Greenway flyover as I was going underneath it. And he said, I saw you. And he said, oh my gosh. And then it's like he's always been there in my life, but not been there. And And honestly, after everything I've gone through with my ex-husband, everything that I allowed, and when people say my ex-husband was abusive, yeah, my ex-husband was abusive, but I allowed him to be abusive to me. I knew it wasn't right. But where was my self-value? Where was my worth? Because there was no self-value. And people say, he took it from me. No, I gave it to him. It's not that he didn't take anything from me, because it wasn't his to take. It was mine. And I gave it. And I gave my power away to the wrong person. And then when I start talking to Keith, and at that coffee, I fell from hook, line, and sinker. Just totally.
It was a done deal.
It was a done deal. I didn't know if he felt the same. So we went out for another coffee, and Keith likes to probe people, to kind of ask them questions to see what their response is going to be, to see, and from them responses, he kind of sums up what kind of person they are. So we had this guy and gal talk, and he goes, I'm a guy, you're a gal. And I went, no shit, pardon my French. That's blatantly obvious. And he said, right, well, I love spending time with you. We get along with each other so well. You know, we have so much fun together. I have needs. I'm sure you have needs. And I went, do you mean friends with benefits? And he went, yeah. And I went,
so cute.
No, Keith. He went, no. I said, no. I can understand why you might want to do that. Well, don't understand why you want to do that with a disabled person, but I can understand why you might want to do that, because men have got needs. But I can't understand for the life of me why you would think that I would lower my self-worth that low to just sleep with someone because I've got a need.
Wow.
We have shocked.
You completely took over the care for your life, because you wouldn't have been so strong before, the person that you were before, right? You decided, no, I'm worthy. Look at this. Look at what I'm wearing. I'm worthy.
Oh my gosh, this hot guy wants to sleep with me. And this, oh my gosh, and I would have gone with that. But for me, it was like, I deserve so much better. And I've made these bad choices before. I'm not going down that road again. No, I've wasted too much of my life. I'm not doing it. I'm still young. I was 36, 37. I thought, I'm not doing it anymore. And when I said no to him, and I said, we can be friends and we can hang out and we can have good time together, but we're not having sex. That is not in the mix. And he smiled. This biggest smile come on his face as to go, you passed the test. And he got out of the car and he left. And then we kept in touch. And then he came over it was the October. He asked me out again, and we'd gone out for another coffee. And then he pecked me. That was our first kiss. That was it. But I was so shocked that he'd been like that with me, that I was such a gobshite. I was just sat there going, didn't even respond, didn't even kiss him back. I thought, oh my God, you're an idiot. But, after everything I'd gone through, I didn't believe in true love. I didn't believe in, it was fairy tales. It was Disney movies. It was Hollywood movies. It doesn't exist. It never has existed for me. So it doesn't exist. And if I'd have met Keith, the kind of man that he is, if I was in my late teens and early 20s, he'd have scared me to death, because all I was used to was people who were manipulative, people who were abusive, people who just destroyed who you were as a person or tried their best to. So actually meeting someone who was honest and good and decent and authentic and real, oh no, I wasn't ready for that. I'd have been petrified about that, because it was everything that I didn't know. So I wasn't in control because I didn't know it. So when you grow up in a certain pattern with people, you end up choosing people like that in your life because it's what you know so well. So yeah, and he was like, I'm crazy about you. And I was like, really? Why would you want to be crazy about somebody like me? I'm disabled. I'm getting old. I've got 4 kids. I've got, there's a lot going on in my life, and there's a lot of problems that come with my disability. And he stood me up and he held me and he made me look in the mirror. And he said, my greatest wish for you is that one day you'll see yourself through my eyes.
Wow.
And he said, I'm going to share you with the world, because the world needs to see you the way I see you. You are so helpful and giving, and you've got such a power. You have inspired me to be the best I can be. Without you, I would not be the man I am. I was the man I am because of my mother. And then I met you, and you took me to a whole new level of man. And I honestly, like I said, I didn't believe in this love and this happily ever after. And he's I've never been in love until I met him. I actually know that, because the man that is stood in front of me, I accept completely. Flaws and all. I accept absolutely everything about him. But I can be open and honest, and he listens. He doesn't shut me down. Or if I'm not happy with something, he'll say, "What's wrong?" I said, "Well, I'm not happy with what you said." He goes, "Oh, what did I say?" "Well, you said so and so and so." "Oh, I didn't mean it like that. And I'm really sorry, baby." So he doesn't take things personally, and he's accountable. And when you have people in your life, whether they're lovers, whether they're friends, and they are fully accountable for themselves, magic starts to happen in that friendship. Magic starts to happen in that relationship, because if you're accountable and they're accountable, you can grow and blossom and communicate and learn. And I love the fact that people think when they go to school and they finish school that they stop learning. No, you learn more when you finish school. And that's the whole thing about, we need to carry on learning. And the reason why I share my journey, because having to learn how to walk again was really hard. And I just about got there. I was on crutches. I couldn't do it on my own without crutches, but I got there with crutches, and I hadn't used my wheelchair in about 6 months, 7 months. Then in 2018, December, I suffered another stroke that nearly killed me again. And I just thought, well, he's going to bail. And I actually told him to leave. I said, "You didn't sign up for this. This is horrendous." I couldn't do anything for myself. He had to bath me, feed me, wash me, change me. I was catheterized again. He was emptying my wee bag. And I just felt really disgusted in myself that, and I felt ashamed, and I felt embarrassed that he was doing this for me. And he said, "I've seen you naked. We've had sex. I kind of know what it is and what it looks like, But you don't." He said, "Sweetheart." And I naked, like in that intimacy, my body dysmorphia is really bad at the moment. I need to get over myself with that. And he goes, "Listen, men don't care about that. We're just looking at the hole. That's all we look at. We don't look at anything else." So I like, I don't care if I've got to clean it. It doesn't bother me. I'm supporting you. I love you. He said, "I've changed thousands of nappies. I've got kids." I went, "Oh my God, I'm not a child." He said it's different. When you go to change your own baby's nappy, you do it because they're your child and you love them and you've got the bond with them. You change someone else's nappy, you're like, it's not a child that you're connected with. It's like, oh, my stomach's turning. But when you love someone, you don't mind what you've got to do, because you just are. By me doing this, I'm encouraging you to be the best you can be, and you can still be the best. And if you go back in your wheelchair, well, then you'll be the hottest woman in a wheelchair. It doesn't really bother me. It really doesn't bother me at all. And when I realized, it comes to a point sometimes when you realize that either someone's a dickhead or someone is just awesome. And I realized just how awesome he was because I had it 2 days before my second stroke, 2 days before New Year's Eve. And so we got to New Year's Eve, and the nurse said, "Mr. Mason, it's 10:30 now. Like, visiting time is well over. You need to leave." And he went, "I'm not going anywhere." And she said, "But you've got to leave." He said, "Well, then you're going to have to go get security or the police to haul me out of here, because I am not leaving my missus on New Year's Eve. She's ill again. She's struggling. And I'm going to leave her to break New Year on her own. It's not happening." He said, "The curtains are drawn. Nobody can see me and her. We're not making any noise, but I'm not leaving her." And that's when I realized that he was so authentic and so real, and that he would never abandon me. And the love that you see in the movies and that you see on Disney movies and in fairy tales, I have that. It is real. It does exist. But it only exists when you're true to yourself and when you're living in truth, because you can only attract truth. Attracts truth. Lies attract lies. Bullshit attracts bullshit. Happiness attracts happiness. If you smile at someone walking down the street, wheeling down the street, however you get down the street, and you smile at someone, they smile back.
That's right.
They reciprocate what's in front of you. So if you have someone who's so authentic and you're authentic, it's great. It's amazing. So I went from being an able-bodied person, miserable, with a very, very, very abusive husband that felt I was trapped and I was dying to get out of, with family members and friends in my life that were very toxic, to being paralyzed, suffering a stroke, and all the stuff that comes with having a stroke is not nice. It is not nice. And I feel for anyone who goes through what I go through, because it's awful. But the plus side is I love my life. I've got an amazing man, and my children. Keith helped me fight 2.5 years for my kids, where the judge said their biological father is not allowed any access to them ever again, which is
Wow. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I won't go into it too much because it is my story, but it's not my story. There are certain things that adults should never do to children. And that was when I found that out, then finding out that I was paralyzed, because they're my babies, they're my world. And they were broken, they were crushed, they were struggling. And Keith came in and healed them, showed them what a real daddy is, showed them how a husband cares for his wife, showed them there are a lot of men in this world. There are a lot of males in this world, but there's not a lot of men, not a lot of true men with true hearts. And honestly, you find one of them, they're gold and dimes. Do not let them go. Do not let them go anywhere. But my kids have come full circle. And that is, it's testimony to me as a mother, but it's testimony to the right choices I now make. And I'm very careful about, and the thing is, a lot of parents don't like to share their stories, their pain, their hurt with their children. So we block them out. But all we're teaching them is to not open up, to not talk, to keep it inside. You can tell a child what you're going through and do it in a very child-friendly way. Because if I say to my children, I'm struggling, then they'll throw their arms around me and say, it's okay, I'll struggle with you, Mummy, it's okay. Do you know, so we beat ourselves up and we think we've got to protect our kids by keeping who we are from them, but we're actually not protecting them, we're harming them more than good. So now, because I'm open, Keith is open with them, they're open. So any pain that they were going through, they were open to talking about it. They were open to moving forward in their lives. And when all that starts to, and you know, for anyone who's watching this now, and anyone who's struggling, anyone who thinks I can't get past where I am, your disability doesn't define you. It only defines you if you allow it to define you. You can still define your disability. Now, I've done marathons in my wheelchair. I've done amazing things in my wheelchair. I've also spent 3 months in bed because of my disability. There's ups and downs, highs and lows. And I like to think that I share that on my platform. You know, the other day I was broken. I was really struggling. The pain. I don't know if anyone listening who suffers with pain, because mine's horrendous. And I was really upset. And I thought, I have to share this because I don't want people to think that I'm this supersonic woman who's so positive all the time and never has a struggle day and never has a struggle moment. But what I do is, my struggle days are not struggle days. They're called character building days.
Oh, wow.
Because you find new inner strength. You find you're allowed to get out that frustration. You're allowed to get out that emotion. You're allowed to feel pissed off. You're allowed to be fed up with your disability. You know, I was fed up for a long time with my disability. And when I'm not sleeping and I'm tired and I'm fed up and my memory is shocking. I don't know if anyone else is on here. I think my short-term memory is shocking. But once it's in my head, it stays, but it's getting into my head at first. The chronic fatigue is, I wish there was a magic pill that just made you feel awake all the time, because it's hard work. It's hard work to be so tired all the time and want to be active, want to be a mother and want to do this and want to do that. But then you have to bring yourself back. I am active. I'm a very active person for somebody with my disability. I am an amazing mother. I'm an amazing friend, and I'm an amazing partner. Why? Because I'm honest and I'm true. There's no lies coming from me. I don't judge anyone. But why? When people say, oh, well, that's great to be like that. Why am I like? Because I stopped judging myself. When you stop judging yourself, you stop judging others. When you look at yourself, really look at yourself in the mirror, and you value the person looking back at you, that's a game changer. You can be whoever you want to be, as long as you believe in who you are as a person, and that you can look at yourself and go, I respect who I am. I love who I am. I've worked freaking hard to get to 40. I've had so many trials and tribulations along the way. I wasn't even supposed to be here. I was supposed to die. And my greatest failure in life is I didn't die. I failed miserably at dying.
Thank God.
I'm still here. So because I'm still here, then I'm going to give this thing that we call life the best shot that it can possibly give. But I still have days where I struggle. Why? Because I'm human. I'm not a robot. I have emotions and I feel pain, and I wish I didn't, but I do. Yes? Do you want to come say hello, seeing as though you've just disturbed?
Yes, come.
This is Isabella.
Hi, Isabella.
Hi.
You're a very lucky young girl, a young lady,
I made her
to have a mother like yours.
Do you love your mom?
Yeah.
I said to her the other day, when I got upset, and I said it in front of them both, I said, I feel like a bad mother. And she looked at me and said, what? What are you on about? What do you mean a bad mother? You could have a mother like this, you could have a mother like that. And she says, just because you're disabled and you might have a day in bed, you might have a week, you might have a month in bed, but she says, you still get up, you still make us tea, you're still here. You know, if we need to come and talk to you, or we just want to chill and watch a movie. She's, when you're having your duvet day and you're struggling, you're too weak, or you're in too much pain, or you're too tired to get out of bed, or you're just not well. She said, that's when we have quality time with you, because you're not you're doing everything everywhere. You've stopped. And I think that as parents, sometimes we need to just stop. Just stop everything and just realize that actually these little beings, they learn friendships from us. They learn relationships from us. They learn bonds from us. They learn truth from us. They learn honesty from us. They learn accountability from us. So if you don't take the time to sit with your little ones and have a really good conversation with them and get to know them as they change throughout the years, because people will turn around and go, I have no idea who this person is. This person was not like this last year. And I'm like, yeah, but that person didn't go through hormonal change last year. That person was 10 last year. Now they're 12, now they're 11. Wait till they start high school. They are going to be completely different. So but then we need to realize that that's ourselves. We are forever changing. We are forever adapting. We are forever learning new things. So we're never, ever going to stay the same. And when people say, I want to be the person I was before all this happened, you don't want to be that person. And when people are in bad relationships, or, you know, they blame something on somebody else, and someone, you know, this person did this to me, and I feel broken, and I just want to be the person I was before I was broken. I said, well, you don't want to be that person, because that person led you to being broken. You want to be a person that understands that we have no power over life at all. Absolute diddly squat, and anyone thinks we do is living in gaga land, because we have no power over life. The only power we have is our choices, actions, and reactions to life. That's right. And that was the biggest I learned after my strokes and becoming paralyzed. I had no choice over what was going to happen to me. That's just a curveball that was thrown at me. How I choose to catch that curveball and what I choose to do with that curveball, that's my choice. So I can spend the rest of my life being depressed, being miserable, and being horrible, because I can't accept who I am today. Or I can take a big, long look at that person. My mind is still here. My heart is still here. Everything about me is still here. It's just these stupid legs of mine don't work properly. One day they will, because I think when people give up on hope, they lose sight of a positive future. Then they become anxious. They suffer with anxiety then because they're so scared of the future, because they've no hope that it's ever going to get better. And I am testimony that I've had 2 strokes. I lost everyone in my life. I lost everything. I nearly lost my home. I lost my job. I went from earning £80,000 a year to earning £0 a year. And I really, really struggled. But now I'm living my best life. And I'm sharing my story with the world to show them that when you do not give up on yourself and you realize that you are the most important person ever who is ever going to be in your life, that when you realize that if you find the most precious gem on the planet and there's only one of that gem left, it's priceless. You can't buy it. There's no money on earth that could buy that one gem. It then sits in a museum because it's the most priceless thing, and everyone comes and gawks at it and goes, oh, wow, look at that. They don't realize that we are that gem, because there is only one of me on this planet. There's only one of my DNA. And the billions of people who are in this earth, there's only one of them. And when you're gone, you're gone. So what are you going to leave when you're gone? Are you going to be like that precious gem that people will pay to see because what they get back from it is so fulfilling? Or are you going to keep your journey to yourself, not share your experiences with anyone, and not push forward in your life? And I believe that we've all got a story to tell. It doesn't matter what the story is, and it's powerful. And even if that story is powerful and changes one person's life, the ripple effect is that one person will change someone else, and it goes round and around and around. You have bad days. That's okay. People are watching this who can identify what I've gone through. I don't want to sit here talking about what I've got to do in my life and my bowel habits and my urine habits, and they're awful. And there's no point, because that's a part of my life, and I accept it. And the quicker you accept it, the quicker you live a better life. Do you know, before I could go to the toilet, everything happened naturally. Now I've got to self-catheterize. And people go, oh, that's disgusting. But what do you do when you have periods? You either use a tampon or you use a sanitary towel. It's disgusting. But you do it because you don't want blood everywhere. So I do it because if I don't, I'm going to get urine infection and I'm going to be really poorly. So it's either get the urine out or leave it in there, my bladder bursts. And when you've just got to logically think about it, I didn't have to do this before. Well, tough. Because guess what? You're going to get really old and you're going to get into your 90s and you're probably going to be incontinent and piss yourself then. So at least you can prepare yourself. At least you know exactly what's going to come when you get to being an OAP. You get to be an OAP. People take things too seriously in life. And I just think, go with the grace of God. Love. Lead with love in everything that you do in your life. But lead with love for yourself first. Because when you can truly love yourself, people start to see a difference in you, and you start to attract the right things and the right people. You know, lockdown has been really hard for some people. I've absolutely loved it.
Me too. Me too.
My life was locked down years before when I had my strokes. My life, I'm used to being sheltered at home and staying at home and struggling financially. I'm thinking, you guys, we've got a crisis going on. Adapt, overcome, strategize, learn something new, do something that you're passionate about, that take a leap of faith and just do. I had to take a leap of faith when I had to stand up for the first time, and I fell. And I fell and I fell and I fell and I fell and I fell. And every time you fall, you just get back up. And if you can't get back up on your own, then don't be scared to ask for somebody to help you get back up. Because one of these days, the person who's helping you up, they're going to need you to help them as well.
So true. Riona, I have to tell you something. I don't think that I've done any interviews that was so full and packed with golden nuggets, with lessons, with wisdom. I think I'm going to have to watch it multiple times because you said so many things that I'm like, I have to write this down. I have to write this down. And it's things that I believe with my whole heart. And you said them so concisely and so to the point with such clarity. And when you communicate like that, we see that it's so authentic and so genuine, so real, and that is your life.
Yeah.
And that is the part that's the most inspiring because you live what you are saying. And we see that. And I see from the comments that people are so inspired and they see that.
People have really hurt me along the path, but guess what? That happens all the time. If I stay bitter to anyone who's wronged me, anyone I've allowed to wrong me, and that's the right terminology, anyone that I have allowed to wrong me, if I stay bitter to them, they've still got my power. They're still in control because every decision that I make is based upon what they did to me. And I'm going to get in a new relationship and judge somebody who I've never met before. I'm getting to know by somebody else's standards. So I'm missing out on life. And I'm missing out on flourishing in life because I'm allowing somebody who is not in my life anymore to stay in control. And that ain't happening. That's not. And anyone if anyone who's listening who's going through it right now, or they're in something they really don't want to be, you have the choices and the power to get out of it. Don't allow fear of the unknown to stop you from moving forward.
And it's such an empowering attitude. Even when you have to make decisions that are painful, the fact that you were able to make the decision makes you feel more in control of your life. Right? Even when you say, I have to let these people go, and you may be grieving the loss of them, at the same time, you're feeling so empowered that you did what was best for you. That empowerment is such growth. It's such an unbelievable feeling.
And you let them go with love.
Exactly.
You don't wish them any harm. You just go, it's not right for my life. And just because you were born into a family doesn't mean you have to stay there. You can choose whatever path you want to go on. And the daft thing that people think is they're on their journey and they've never got off their journey. But obstacles come in along the way to derail your journey. But you're still on that same journey. And once you realize that it's your journey, it's not anyone else's. So then people can have as many opinions on your life that they want. Good. And some of them are going to add value, and some of them you're going to listen to, and some of them you're going to go, you're bloody horrible. That wasn't very nice. But you don't take it personally because it's not your issue, it's their issue. And people are in conflict in themselves. They transfer that conflict onto you, and they want you to feel as pathetic as they feel. They want you to feel as miserable and as bad as they feel. So what do? They ridicule you. They say horrible things to you. They pull you down. You know, they do all of these things. And it doesn't make you hate them. It makes you hate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're hating yourself because if someone else is in a conflict. It's the most stupidest thing on the planet to do. It's like turning around and saying, this is a red hot poker, but I'm going to hold it in my hand anyway. It's going to burn me. It's going to damage my hand, but I'm going to hold it anyway. But that's what we do internally with our mental health. We hold on to things that is actually not our baggage. It's someone else's baggage that we have just nicked. We've nicked it. We've taken it. We've made it our own. And we hold on to it. And people do that with their disabilities as well. Anyone who's watching this now, if you're disabled, you are not baggage. You never have been baggage. You never will be baggage. But if you feel like you're baggage, everyone else around you will believe that you are. In some form or way. You are not. You are not a second-rate citizen. You are a first-class citizen like anyone else in this world, and you can do whatever it is you want to go do. So if it's deciding that you need to get some frustration out, open the window and scream as loud as you can. Let that crap go and close the window. Don't let it come back in.
That's right. Amen. Amen. Preach. So tell me what's next. I understand that you're writing a book.
Yes, we're writing a book and we're hopefully wanting it out for Valentine's, because obviously it is about my journey. It is about Keith before he met me, and the struggles that we've overcome in our life. But also it's about finding each other and where we are now and our love story and where we're going to go, and our hopes and dreams and aspirations. You know, I'd love another baby. Keith thinks I'm crazy, but I'd love another baby. And at least labor would be really easy because I feel half of it and I want to feel the other half. So it'd be people say you forget labor. They're liars. You don't. It's a traumatic experience and it's bloody awful. Anyone who's had a horrible labor, I know I've had one. They're awful. But the end product is good.
Yeah.
Nerve pain is, it's even worse than labor, but there's no baby at the end of it, so there's no positive end product. But we've had Will Purdue. He's a singer and songwriter. He's written a song for us to raise money for a special suit for me that's going to enable me to walk on my own without my wheelchair all the time. So that song is available. It's all over my links and my bios everywhere on all my social medias.
Okay, but you will send me all of those links because I'm gonna want to post it in the group and in my page, and because I always try to connect the people with the people that we interview so they can buy the book or support you in any way that they feel inclined to do so.
We're doing a 10-10 challenge. We were supposed to do it this year, but then with my health not being the best, I had another small bleed in my neck, so it caused a hemiplegic migraine, and then I was out of it for weeks, and then I suffered really bad vertigo to the point where I was laying down. I was convinced that I was stood up, and Keith was like, "No, sweetheart, you're definitely laid down." I was like, but in my head, I feel like I'm stood up. It was weird. So I've had a couple of months out trying to get better and healthier. And then obviously with COVID and the lockdown again over in the UK, we couldn't do the challenge. The challenge is, it's called 10-10 challenge, and it's for our own foundation, not raising money for myself. It's for our own foundation to raise money for other people who desperately need equipment, desperately need therapy, desperately need help. And it's not just in the UK. We want to do it worldwide eventually, where people will, it's like a grant. They'll come to us on a means tested basis and we will just fund whatever it is they need funding. So this is our first fundraiser to kickstart the charity, to kickstart the foundation. And we will be covering I will be covering 4 marathons over 10 days.
Wow.
But what we're going to do is we're going to encourage other people to join in. And it's not a case of people like, oh my God, I don't want to do 4 marathons. It's just do 10 of something every day for 10 days. And then just tag other people along so that people can be encouraged to step out of the comfort zone, do something that they probably wouldn't normally do, but that they have tons of support from lots of people around the world. Tons of support from people around the world doing it, and our probably our biggest audience is in the US actually. So we've got about 200 people in the US that are like raring to go. They can't wait to do the challenge, because there are so many people out there that, even if it's just, I don't know, a specialist. I have specialist mats that help me balance. These are companies that have contacted me, kind of using me as a guinea pig. Will it work? Won't it work? We will see. Specialist suits to help you walk that are thousands of pounds. But I know everyone who's in a wheelchair, the vast majority of them would love to walk again in some capacity. And if it is possible for them to do that, then the foundation wants to help and support. If it might be that people don't have the insurance to have the proper rehab they need, the foundation will pay for the rehab to be done, because people don't deserve to go through that and not have the support emotionally, mentally, and physically. They need that support. It's so valuable and it's so needed. And it's not there. It's not there enough. You know, I know there's lots of other charities, but none of them have reached out to me. None of them have helped me. None of them said, well, we can do this and we can do that. We've done everything on our own. And I'm very lucky because I've got a Keith Mason. And I think everybody needs a Keith Mason in their corner. And I'm very blessed to have him. But and with his knowledge and his sport background, 15 years as a professional athlete at a very high level. So I'm very lucky, and I'm very lucky that he had a lot of physios and a lot of people that he knew that he could go to for help and support. But not everyone has that. But I didn't get any. Keith's done all my rehab. He's got me to where I am now. but it should be just readily available for people, you know, when you've gone through this life changing and you've had an accident, especially with strokes, you need to be on the ball with rehab there and then. As soon as they've got over, their body's got over the shock and they're not as tired, that intensive rehab needs to start straight away to get the best outcome and that they can have the best quality of life that they can possibly have. And that's what me and Keith are really about. We're about raising awareness and about helping people live the best quality of life that they could possibly live and take back control of their life and not allow their disability to define them.
I want you to share with us when you will do this challenge, because I am sure that so many people in the group they're going to want to participate. I'm going to want to participate. I'm actually also working to try to help stroke survivors with certain needs. I have a foundation for many years, and I'm modifying a little bit what we do to help with speech therapy. When my husband had his stroke, it didn't affect him physically, but he lost memory. And our insurance didn't cover not 1 hour of speech therapy. And, they call it speech therapy, but it's really for his memory. So we had to pay out of pocket. We had to do all kinds of things with apps, and it's very hard, as a caregiver, I say, how can this not be provided? So I'm very...
And that culture needs to change, because when someone goes through that life change, it has a trauma that changes their life forever. When they don't have the right rehabilitation and they know that they could make so much progress with that rehabilitation, they feel like they're forgotten about.
That's right.
And it makes the journey so much harder because it's frustrating anyway. I mean, I remember when my stroke's off, the second one, all this side of my face looked like a wax melt. It was all, my eye was down here, everything, all of it just drooped. I couldn't speak. I couldn't remember stuff. You'd ask me stuff. I'd look at these flashcards and they'd show me it again. I'd say, I haven't seen that one. They said, I just showed you a few minutes ago. Oh, did you? Oh, okay. And you feel frustrated. And I couldn't move my hand. So on this hand, this is the second stroke affected all this side. So on this hand, I can, they don't really participate at all. But, and so you have to learn how to hold a cup again, how to be able to get those fingers right, and just very, very simple things. And so I'd gone from being independent to having a stroke, not being independent, to being independent again, to having another stroke, to not being independent, having everything. I couldn't even cook for my, I couldn't even feed myself. And it is very frustrating. But if the therapy was there, it would take the pressure off of the loved ones that feel like they're consumed with, they want to help. I know Keith did, but then Keith needed an outlet because he was like, this, I love her. And she could die. And he had to kind of stay strong for me. But then all of his fears, he will have had them still. He'd be like, what if she doesn't recover? She's like this forever. She's broken. How do I help fix her? There's nobody helping us. How are we going to move forward with this? We've just got to try. And it shouldn't be like that. There should be where you're helped with your mental health, because that is probably the biggest thing for me that I found, getting over that, and my mindset, changing my mindset. Very big hurdle. And once you can do that, it makes your rehab easier. But if you don't have any support in your rehab, well, then you can't rehab on your own. You can't do it on your own. And I don't care if you say you do it on your own, you cannot do it on your own. Because if you can't move any part of your body, or like your husband couldn't speak, he's never had to learn how to speak apart from when he was a baby. But then that's a natural process that you naturally learn as your brain develops. Well, his brain has developed, but then the stroke affected his brain. He can't talk properly. You have qualified people that are there, ready and waiting to get talking again. So
exactly.
Why wasn't it available? And I just think I'm not going to change it on my own. You know, my foundation. People say, oh, you set up a foundation. I said, no.
no, I don't want to be on my own in this foundation. I want to link with other foundations. I want to link with other agencies around the world. I want to link with social services. I want to link with councils. I want to link with so many different places so that you can't do it. I can't do it on my own. I can scream from the rooftops, but I can't. It's when people from different organizations, different charities, different foundations, different agencies come together as one to make a big scream, to make a big impact, and say, this has to change. The culture of how people are treated when they've gone through a life-changing condition and what they're offered and what they're not offered. And if you have the money, you get it, and if you don't, you're just left like trash. You're not thought about. That has to change.
Yes, 100%. I want to know if Keith can come to just say a few words before we say goodbye. Oh, I guess I lost her. I guess I lost her. I'm going to try to reach out to her again. Wasn't she amazing? I think that she's so inspirational. I'm going to reach out to her and ask her if Keith can come. We'll do a quick live, maybe in a little bit or another day, so you guys can all see him. But Riona is really an amazing, inspiring person. I want you to know that I found out about her because I read about her in the news. There was an article, I'm correct, it was in the New York Post. And my daughter brought attention to me. She says, Mom, she would be great for your show. And I read her article and I said, you know what? Let me see if I can find her on Instagram. And I reached out and she replied. And here she is. This is somebody who really, really wants to inspire other people and make their lives better by telling her story, sharing what she has gone through. And now it's amazing to find out about her foundation. So as soon as I touch base with her, I don't know if it was a bad connection or what happened, but I did lose her. I will share with you those things, and maybe Keith can come at some point to say hi to everybody. I am just so excited that you all joined me. We had a lot more people today than we usually have at night, and I'm just so wondering, is this a better time for the show? Should I do it on a regular basis during the day, or should we keep the night spot? So please reach out to me and let me know if you prefer an earlier time slot, and I'll see what I could do. At least maybe I could do one time early and then one time later. I want to thank you all for participating. I am so inspired, so motivated by her. I am going to listen to all of this again, put some thoughts in writing and put it in the group. So if you're not a member of the Heal with Gold and you're a woman, join us. If you are a male and you want to hear those golden nuggets, because I am going to write them down, I try very hard to keep lessons that I learned from interviews, and I recommend you to do the same as well. But I'll share with you because this one was loaded with good stuff. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. I love you all. And I will go back into the group maybe tomorrow and share some great stuff with all of you. Have a great one. Bye.